Hello. Hey there. It's been a while since I talked about any of my crafty projects. I've done several videos over the years showing you my December daily, my one little word. I'm not sure if I've shown you any of my other memory keeping projects, but if you're not aware, I love memory keeping. I have since I was young. It's been my favorite creative pastime for a very, very long time, and I've gone in and out of habit with it. And to put it as bluntly as possible, I did not craft for the past 2 years. And I believe now with hindsight that was because I did not have the emotional bandwidth to do so. Memory keeping is a favorite hobby of mine, but it's also an emotional reflection. Through the good times and the bad times, whatever, the highs and the lows, it is a reflection in pictures and in words of my story. It is my story. And the last couple of years just have been tough and tumultuous and hard, right? For personal reasons, and then also the reasons that we're all experiencing. It's been a lot. It was too much. And I had every intention to continue with my project, especially December Daily in one little word, because I went ahead and bought all the supplies. You'll see them in this video, my one little word supplies from Ali Edwards. Ali Edwards Design Inc. is the official company name. Run and headed by Ali Edwards herself, who is my personal memory keeping guru. She really brought me back into the craft. When my daughter was born is when I picked up memory keeping again after several years off. And it was her style of telling your story in a very accessible way to me with pocket page style memory keeping. That was just like the combination, and Allie's personality and the way she shares. I really connect with her, and her prompts help me connect with my story. So that's why I talk about her classes and her products and her projects a lot, because they help me tell my story, and I know they help so many. So as I said, I had full intention of doing the one little word project for 2020 and 2021. I even did half of 2020. All in the course of just like a week or two for a video that I put together for another platform. But then I didn't complete it. And by the end of 2021, I found myself really bummed that I hadn't gone through and done the one little word project from 2021 especially, and also wrapping up 2020. And just like, I'm pretty good at being bummed about something and holding that and processing it and then moving on. I haven't always been good at it. I've been practicing it a lot. When something really sticks with me though, it's like, okay, well, you can continue to be bummed about it, or you can do something about it. Or you can let it go. You can just continue being bummed about it, or you can do something about it. And I didn't like the first two options, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be proactive, I'm gonna do something about it. And so I completed both the 2020 and the 2020. My brain just fried there. I completed both the 2020 and the 2021 projects in retrospect at the beginning of this year. Just now I finished the 2021 album just last week. So that felt really good, and it was a very interesting exercise to go back and document what is meant to be a proactive, in real-time project, but in retrospect. I'm here today to share that with you. So I'm going to take you through both albums, overhead, bird's eye view, kind of talk you through them. I'm not going to really linger on the prompts or all of the words that I wrote. Like, I'm not going to read everything. First of all, it'll just be a ridiculously long video. And also, it's vulnerable stuff. It's really private stuff. This project in particular, I'm not sure I've even really accurately described it. It's where you choose a word to carry with you throughout the year. And you can do this with or without this class. I highly recommend the class, even if you're not going to do the crafty bits, because it's just a really great exercise in actively carrying an intention that's not necessarily like a goal, like I'm going to drink more water. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's different. It's more it's deeper, if you know what I mean. And it's about your growth as a person and really paying attention to that, which for me at least is a way to live more fully. So if you sign up for the class and you pick your word and you can sign up for the class, and then every month there are prompts, video prompts, and like a PDF handout. It's an online classroom and you can do it at your own pace. Obviously, I did mine well after the actual timeline. Every month is a new way to approach your word and really think about your experience with your word and how that is evolving as you go through the course of the year. Some of the prompts involve more journaling, some involve more creative lenses, such as using photography or art. And trust me, I am not a photographer or an artist on any level, and I can do these things. You can do these things. We can all do these things. And I actually find them very valuable, especially because I do not consider myself talented in those ways, to show me that I can have that sort of creative experience even without that label of I'm an artist, I'm a photographer, whatever, which, as we already noted, I am not. And it's really opened me up to taking more pictures of not just my kids. I take a lot of pictures of my kids. Will always take a lot of pictures of my kids, but taking a lot of pictures of the things that I find beautiful in my everyday experience. Taking pictures of things that feel important. Even if somebody else looked at my phone and be like, why do you have a picture of this plant? I'd be like, well, that plant I bought in the day where I was thinking about this and processing that and then signified this, like, whatever. Yes. Taking more pictures of myself. I used to feel so weird about taking pictures of myself, and this project in particular has helped me to move past that. It's an important part of how I tell my story, is including myself in that story. And these projects I do, whether it's a personal project like the One Little Word project or my December Daily, which one could say is like a family album, it really isn't though. It's a me album. They're all me albums. Even my family albums made by me are about me and my story and my lens, because I'm the only one making them. That doesn't make it any more or any less valuable than anybody else's lens. It's just including me in that lens is a part of honoring my story and helping me experience my life to its fullest. So that's the project in a nutshell. You can buy the products, you cannot buy the products, you can do the class, you cannot do the class, you can just journal things, you can just hold a word for your year and carry it in a way that makes sense to you. I like this project because, like I said, I resonate with the content, and it helps me continue on this journey of self-exploration and discovery and growth. And the class has expanded in the last couple of years to include more voices than just Allie. She has guest instructors almost every month, and it's a beautiful way to get a lot of different perspectives and lenses and stories and suggestions, and it's just, I can't say enough good things about it. So without further ado, let's look at the albums, and hopefully it'll give you a better sense of exactly what I'm talking about. Here are the 2 completed albums that I finished in the span of about a month and a half. Not working on it constantly, obviously, but I already gave you all the backstory. This is just going to be a flip through. I'm not going to read every single thing. I just want to reiterate that this is a very personal project, and I'm sharing very vulnerably, but I feel like it's important in encouraging this kind of sharing, and also just that I believe so wholeheartedly in the power of a project like this, whether you do the whole crafty bit or not. And I apologize in advance, there's a glare because things are in page protectors and I have not yet figured out how to film without a glare. But 2020, my year was Breathe, and I did the first 6 months of this project in the span of about a week to film a video that I shared with the Get Organized HQ, which I did for a few years. Great online summit of a breadth of content creators. And that was great because it really pushed me to do this project, especially at a time when I wasn't crafting. I was very overwhelmed, as I think we all were at that point, but for a variety of reasons. But then after I wrapped that video, I didn't pick up this project again till January of 2022. So I'll just let that speak for itself. But I want to say, again, the power of going back, even in retrospect. It's different, it's a different lens, but it's no less impactful for me personally in my journey. So I tend to start all of my albums with an acrylic version of my word. This was still when Allie Edwards was creating those, and now I get them from another wonderful lady whose name is escaping me, but I will post her link and everything below if you'd like to see all of that information. And I put a portrait of myself from the beginning of that year. So that was a birthday portrait, self-portrait I took when I turned 37. Yep, 37. And then we jump into the months. So the January prompt usually is the same, where you share your word and you define it, you give your reason why, and a quote that resonates for you to go with it. And how I've approached this project in recent history is to use all of the prompts and follow the classes on the One Little Word online classroom. But then I tend to do some things in my own project the same that aren't necessarily part of the classroom. And I usually include in each month a picture of me with my kids and a picture of myself. Now the picture of myself was at the front. But I'll just read you really quickly, because this is the first part of this project, my reason why for 2020, the word breathe. Because it felt like I had forgotten what it felt like to inhale and exhale fully, both literally and figuratively speaking, because I need to breathe to be. So that pretty well summarizes where I was at that point, and I held that word even though I did not complete that project in real time that year. I held it with me, and it had a huge impact on my experience. So these prompts, again, tend to be the same from year to year, and there's a variety of cards that are included in the kit. They have a digital version if you're more interested in that, or you could do this all in a journal, or just do the class, or not even do the class at all. But I think the experience of having a word and carrying it with you throughout the year and having some way to check in with it on a regular basis is really great. And then something for the year ahead. So these prompts, like I say, tend to remain static. Then the February prompt in recent history has been the vision board prompt. And so what I do is I make an actual, here I'll show you. I do the whole bit where I clip things out of magazines and paste them onto a 12 by 12 canvas. And I have 6 of those now that I've completed. But then what I do to put it in my project is I just take a picture of it and then print it out. And then any extra bits I have, I will tend to paste in. And it's just so fascinating to me to look back over 6 years of these vision boards, and they still stand true. They still resonate. Part of the crafting that I do with this project too is there's some parts that I like to keep kind of consistent, more or less, from month to month. And the kit helps with that too, because these wood veneer month pieces were provided in the kit, and some cards, and these transparent cards, and the little corkboard stars you can see. I did those at the beginning of February too. So those things like that are just kind of how I craft. It's kind of how my mind works. I like to have some things be consistent throughout to kind of tie everything together. And I choose to print more in black and white for this project than other projects, especially with this first page that I usually keep pretty consistent throughout the album in terms of setup. So it's got the 3x4, 2 at the top, and the 4x6 at the bottom. And I have a picture of me with my kids, and I have a self-portrait. Well, it's not feeling great at that moment, but who was in March 2020? Was anybody feeling really, really awesome? I'm not sure. So here we have this month, and they've changed this up a little bit since then, but March traditionally has been the daily practice, where you pick something to practice. And in this particular year, I picked practicing music every day, which was a really important part of my 2020, was playing music a lot. And then I take so many pictures just on the daily. That's just part of who I am. I just take pictures constantly of my children, of my dog. I've been getting more into self-portraits in the last few years because of this project, to be honest. In April, it was the I am prompt, which is a powerful kind of almost affirmation giving prompt. In May was the photo challenge, photos that speak to you in regards to your word. So again, it's like carrying your word, but it's also living your life and carrying through your days. So you can see that there. June is typically a mid-year check-in with provided written prompts. So this is a lot more journaling, less photography, less crafty. But of course, I, again, do my first page. It's always the same. Picture of me with the kids, self-portrait that resonated from the month. There's a picture of me and my family back in our old house in Pittsburgh when I was, I don't know, maybe at 7, I want to say, 7, 8. Yeah, I always love including full page pictures wherever I can. July was a crafty bit. This is playing with paint and stamps and however you want to get crafty. I don't tend to dip into art any other time than this prompt, and I'm always so grateful for it because I just don't think of myself as an artist, and I always feel so good when I'm doing this sort of work. So it's something that I want to remember and keep experimenting with a little bit. And just as a note, this is July. This is when I picked up this project back in January of this year. So this is like a full year and a half after this timeline. There was burning some relationship stuff. Sometimes you have to burn things, okay? Now remember, this is July 2020. I'm pulling pictures and thoughts and emotions in retrospect from that time. And also, just important to note, as somebody who daily journals, I have 2 journals. I have a private one, which is what I'm showing you now. This is actually my one from 2021. One journal like this, art journal over my favorite. They last me about 5 months of daily journaling. Having a journal makes doing projects in retrospect a lot easier because I can go back and read exactly what I was feeling at any given time. And also, I do the same with, I have a 5-year journal for my kids. That's just a little blurb every day of stuff to do with my kids. So that's good for like general memory keeping, to go back and do that in retrospect because I'm never on time with that. This is the story I'm telling myself prompt. So that's a powerful self-reflection prompt as well. September, we had, oh, this was kind of a new one. It was an art, I'm trying to remember what the prompt was. Some sort of self-reflective prompt where this is me showing me where I find my comfort, or I found my comfort at that time. Rest, right? Activity, music, Winnie and outside time, yoga, more music. Music was a very important part of my year in 2020. Sadly did not pick up an instrument in 2021, but I'm already back at it now in 2022, so that speaks volumes in and of itself. October was quote/music lyric, and this is a prompt that pops up from year to year, mostly. And so I went with, I also, as a person who kind of documents without documenting, including journaling, I make a seasonal playlist, like a private personal playlist for myself every season. And I've been doing this really since the beginning of 2020. And it wasn't intentional, it just kind of happened that way. And then when the seasons changed, I found myself closing out a playlist and starting a new one. And I do this in Spotify because it's my favorite music app of choice. But it's really easy because I also label those playlists by the season. So like Winter 2022 is the one I'm on right now. So it was easy to go back to my, this would have been Fall 2020 album or playlist, and pick out some of the songs that are on that playlist and just write some of the lyrics out. I typed them out that resonated with me, printed them out, decorated them up a little bit. November was a note to self, and I actually went back to my journal. I'm kind of covering up the date there because it was the day I got officially divorced. I just want to keep that date private, but this is the day I got officially divorced, and I wrote out the journal entry I made that day. That was a powerful day, and this is a powerful prompt, and very important thing I want to remember. It's bittersweet, of course. Maybe more bitter than sweet sometimes. Divorce is hard, but something to remember. And then December traditionally is a wrap up where we go through facts and feelings from our year and what we want to remember from the year. Now keep in mind, I'm doing all of this in retrospect in January 2022. looking back at December of 2020. But I have my journal, and it's not that long ago, and I remember those feelings. And then I just wrapped up this book with this photo I love from my kids and I at Christmas time that year. This will be over a full year ago. And a look at my word for the next year that I had already received in the mail, the acrylic word from, Colleen, can't remember her last name, Atara? I will have her linked below. But I really liked this poem from Cleo Wade, and I printed it out to put in here with a final self-portrait from the year. And these are all in real time. This is December photos. These are December photos of 2020. That was Christmas at my folks' house. It was my first Christmas dinner since becoming a mom without my children, because we split Christmas Eve and Christmas between us, and we flip-flop who gets what each year. So Christmas Eve, I had my kids up through Christmas Eve, and then Dawn had them Christmas, like midday through the rest of the holidays. And that was different, right? So it was me with Winnie having Christmas dinner, and it was 2020, so my brother's family didn't even come up to visit because we were worried about people getting sick, and it was just the three of us with Winnie, and it was different, right? It was something to document. Anyway, I want to read you this poem, because this really speaks volumes to where I was at this particular point in my life, looking back in retrospect over a year later. Inevitabilities. It will get messy, your life. It will break your heart. But oh, the joy of all you learn and the power you gain when you figure out how to clean it up and make your whole heart whole again and again and again and again. And if that ain't life, I don't know what is. So that was my 2020 album. Very clean album, I want to say. Like, a lot of my crafting is neat, right? Like this. It's not, I'm a color in the lines kind of person. All right, so here's 2021, and I just wrapped this the other day, and I am just so proud of this project. This is a thick one, This one, but you see, still pretty neat. Like, this is probably as messy as I get with crafting in terms of loosening up a bit. And I let myself really play with the art prompts, and that was really fun. So as you can see, my word for the year was trust. I've got that glued down pretty well. This is from Liz. Oh, of course, now I'm blanking on her last name too, but she's the one who I get the little stone. It's not a stone, it's like a little metal pocket talisman with my word printed on it. And I'll try to just like pop on a picture what that looks like. I think I posted about it actually on Instagram. But I get those as a way to physically carry my word when I feel like it. I haven't been wearing pants with pockets a lot lately. You know, it's the legging kind of season of life. But when I feel like I need a little extra something, I find it's really nice to have a little physical something that I can hold or just carry on me and know it's with me. I realize that might sound silly to some people, and some people may like totally get it. Anyway. So again, I tend to start my projects in the same way. Sometimes I do something on the inside cover and sometimes I don't. Did this year, I really like that, and I used a lot of the embellishments from the kit. So the kit generally comes with a lot of black and white things, and then the main kit, and then in the past few years, Allie Edwards has also had mini kit subscription available where you get a mini kit quarterly, and this is something that usually incorporates a lot more color. This is a self-portrait from October when I was hiking in Utah, actually. But that felt like a really good starting place for my 2021 year project in retrospect. And I even put down here, you can see documented in retrospect, February 2022, because I just wanted to make a note of that because it's different, right? All of these other years that I've done this, with the exception of 2020 and 2021, I've done them more or less in real time. And I just could not craft for those couple of years. But I came back to it, and I am back in it, and it feels really good. Again, the album came with the page protectors and the page dividers, and a creature of habit, I tend to have the same general format that I carry throughout the album. So in this one, I put a full page printed out photo that felt like it summed up the feeling of that month on the inside of the divider with the month embellishment that came with the main kit. And then I used this style page protector with the 2 3x4s and the 1 4x6 again, self-portrait, and one of me with my little family. And again, you'll see this is very much the same as the 2020 January prompts with where you share what your word is, your reason why, you define it, quote, let go, invite, and then you talk about the year ahead and your intentions for the year. So my reason why, and again, this is in retrospect, but my reason why for choosing this word, which I chose in real time at the end of 2020, looking to 2021, because I had every intention of doing this project. It just did not unfold in that way. Tumultuous 2020 showed me just how strong I am and that I can trust myself to carry on, to show up, to do all the hard things, to find joy amidst deep sorrow and angst. 2021 is about exploring that trust. And I did explore it in real time and in retrospect. So, February, we go back to our vision board prompt, and this year was a bit different in that Allie started including guest instructors. She also made videos for each month about how she was exploring the prompts, but they were led by different instructors for the most part throughout the year. I really enjoyed having those other voices. So as you can see, again, self-portrait, family portrait, and this is my vision board. I'll pull it up for you. The word sits a little bit different because it's a different person cutting the acrylic, right? But I just love my vision board for 2021. I love how that turned out. I printed out a nice picture of it, and then I just used some of the extra bits on the back. I really love this Mary Oliver quote, "You must never ever stop being whimsical, and you must not ever give anyone else the responsibility for your life." And a little nod to last year's word, or 2020 word. March was when I started my kind of exploring journey that I started sharing on YouTube. So it was a lot about that. And again, this prompt, this daily practice prompt, and for me, that was establishing a daily meditation practice, which I did all throughout last year and continue to do this year. So that one stuck. April, let's see, my little Winnie. Winnie shows up a lot in my self-portraits and in my other portraits. This was I am letting go of. So this was an exercise in really journaling, but I also used it as a reason to paint. So I pulled out my watercolors. And again, you guys, I'm not an artist. I would never say that I am, but I find that doing creative projects like this in the context of the journey with the word as the larger lens is really, 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 really therapeutic. And I really recommend it, even if you don't think you are an artist. It doesn't matter. You can still do art. Let's see. May was the picture prompt. This was a new prompt because so there were a lot of newer prompts with this year because there were new people talking about, you know, leading the classes and sharing their experiences. So this one was about identifying 5 feelings and capturing them through photography. And again, it's just like with the art stuff. You don't have to be a photographer to capture pictures. So I picked 5 words that felt very pertinent to this time. And again, drawing a lot on my journaling from that time. Sorrow, hope, that's when I got my vaccine, gratitude, confidence, and love. And so I chose to do a self-portrait and like a landscape picture for each of those. Now, when it was, what month is this? May 2021, I had no idea this was the prompt. And these are just pictures that were already in my album that I pulled from that time. I did not take these pictures with the thought that they were going to be used for this project. I went back in retrospect and was able to easily find them because I tend to take a lot of pictures as a way of self-expression. So it worked out that way. It would be just as valuable as an exercise to do it with that lens, like starting out the month thinking, I'm going to take pictures of things that make me, that reflect certain feelings that I'm having. Like that's also, you know, valuable. I think they're both valuable. June, was our in progress check-in. So again, and these questions tend to be the same from year to year. I'll just read you a couple of them. In 1 or 2 words, your one little word experience so far has been intense and dark. And that was a very good description of my 2021. What has surprised you most so far this year? What are you most proud of related to your word, etc., etc. Oh, my little Winnie. This was also the month that my last surviving grandparent, my Grandma Betty, passed away at 100 years old. She lived a very long and very full life. But yeah, I still miss her as I miss all of my grandparents each and every day. So that was an important part of that month that I wanted to recognize. July was painting. Fun with paint. And this is like the loosest I've ever gotten with art. And I had so much fun. I had so much fun. So I used acrylics and just kind of layered acrylics, and I used some stamps and just had fun in that way. And it really made this particular exercise made me want to paint just for the sake of painting again and again. And that just happened a couple weeks ago. So I think that will be something that I look into. August was the story I'm telling myself. I think Allie led this one. And they were the story, she picked 4 lenses that I chose to also follow because those prompts are helpful to me, but you can do it through any lens. So the lens of work, the lens of relationships, the lens of yourself, and the lens of your word. Another Cleo Wade quote. I love her work. It really resonates with me. I did lots of travel. In August, I had my big Italy trip, and my first trip, just me and the kids, without family, without anybody else. We went to Bear Lake in Utah, went glamping. We had a great time. That was so much fun. September, and again, you can see there's some themes I pick up from year to year, so the black and white photos I like to incorporate because I don't print those out very often in that way. This was fun. This was like a make your own poem. And it was by Liz, who also makes the Pocket Towels months. So, and I will have her linked below. She really walked us through it, and by us, I mean the class participants, so anybody who's part of the One Little Word workshop. She really walked us through beautifully to build our own poem, because I could write a poem if I really sat down and tried. But it was just fascinating to have somebody teach me how to make a poem in this almost like Mad Lib style, but there was a whole worksheet that went with this that then distilled down into this. So that was awesome. And then again, more Cleo Wade. I put this Cleo Wade poem in here because I really, really, really love this one. The moon told me a secret last night. My heart told me one too. They said, baby, we're going to be fine. And that's me hiking around. I did a lot of local camping sorts of stuff in the early fall. Oh, backpacking and pictured rocks was so beautiful and so hard and just beautiful all around. So this was another newer prompt led by a fabulous woman who's, again, I'm sorry, I'm losing all the names, but it was to make a mixed media mini journal, which was so fun. So this is all layered kinds of paper. And then what did I do? I painted over it, I wrote over it, and to add in affirmations. And the prompt, if I had done it in real time, was to read these affirmations out loud to yourself every day. Now, I'm gonna tell you that I've had a personal affirmation practice that I do daily. Before I go to bed every night while I'm stretching, I say my affirmations out loud while I'm stretching. They're different than these affirmations, and they tend to evolve with time as my life changes and my needs change. But I find affirmations very powerful. It just, it's just the power of positive self-talk, I think, is really important. But I really love this project. And again, this just playing with paint is so much fun. And I'm clearly not an artist, but I love this. And I think it's beautiful and whimsical. And that's exactly what I wanted it to be. And it just turned out so great. And it just makes me want to play with paint more. So even, opening yourself up to doing things that are maybe outside of your comfort zone in the confines of this project can lead to new habits, like my daily meditation habit and being interested in painting, things like that. Okay, November was the Good Files with Robin. And this was fun because it was about using your senses to pick out the good. And I find this this is something I practice a lot, kind of subconsciously. Whenever I start to feel myself getting a little spirally, if I'm getting stressed or whatever, sad, just anchor myself in the present moment, to return myself to the present moment, is to look for the good in that particular moment. And to do this in retrospect was a really interesting practice. But I went back to my pictures. There was a lot of great memories in November, getting ready for the holidays, running the first in-person Run Disney event since the pandemic, the beginning of fall, really, holiday stuff with the kids, going to St. Louis for Thanksgiving for the first time in a couple of years. I mean, just all really good stuff. It was a very tough month at the same time, but there's a lot of good stuff. And going back and thinking about that good stuff was just, it helps me when I'm having a hard day now to think, well, think about the hard days then and you still found the good. There's always good. And December, the typical wrap-up prompt. Just really, December felt like a big shift for me personally in my emotional state. I felt a lot of hope. And 2022 has not been the easiest start, but it's a different feeling. And I'm leaning hard into that. And I think going back and doing these projects now has made a big difference in how I am thinking about these years that already happened. Like, what happened, right? Can't change things that have happened or even have any real control over what will happen. But what I can control is how I process them and how I either hold things or let things go. And this project helps so much with that. Now that you've taken a look, and I will try to link my past, I've done at least one or two of these videos in the past. I'll try to link them below if you're curious to see more. I love this kind of content because seeing how other people not only craft, like surface level craft, but also just explore their own stories motivates me and inspires me to explore my own story even more. And it opens up my eyes to different experiences too. The more we can see and feel and process, the more I believe we live. That's why I share what I shared. I hope that sharing these with you gave you a better sense of this project through my lens. Of course, it's gonna look different through everybody's lenses because we're all different. Even though we're all human, we have different experiences and really can only walk our own paths. The beauty in sharing those stories with each other is that it opens our hearts. I truly believe that. And like I said, at least for me, it helps me experience my life fuller, having a wider lens and an open heart. And now I am on to 2022. I am happy to report that I am full-fledged back into crafting, obviously, but like in real time, which means a lot to me. I'm also back to playing my instruments a little bit. And to me, it's just, I think I mentioned in the overview part that I felt a real shift at the end of 2021 in my emotional state that just, and not that there was anything wrong with having a couple of really intense emotional years. I think they were necessary and they're part of my journey, and I grew a lot during that time. They're not like bad or good. It's just what is, right? It's part of the experience and a necessary part, I believe, at least in my journey. And the things have not really gotten easier in life for anybody, for myself or for anybody I know at this point in early 2022. But I know, at least in my personal experience, I feel different and I am more open and able to craft, to document, to make music, and to share. I feel more open to sharing, where I felt very closed off the past couple of years. So that's why I'm sharing. Again, please respect that these are vulnerable, private things that I'm sharing with you. I hope you understand that, and I look forward to sharing more. I have been also concurrently catching up with December Daily. I have a lot more work to do with that, but that's been another project I've been working on. I'll probably share that later in the year as we get closer to the holiday season, maybe do a another roundup kind of overview post like this if you would be interested in that. I love that. That project is so fun. And also it can be rather introspective or not, you know, however you want to approach it is just fine. But cannot recommend One Little Word enough. I'll have all the pertinent links below. I hope you enjoyed this, and here's to sharing more stories together. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Bye.